Hey, it's Carly Rae here, and welcome to my Hey, it's Carly Rae YouTube. Today we are outside, and we are going to have some tea, and we are going to talk about an amazing book on my TBR list for June. What book is that? Well, look at the tea. It is Jo and Laurie. This book is on my TBR list, and I got so many questions on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook page about what this book is about, and a lot of you guys had no idea this book was out. I ended up seeing this when I was shopping at Books A Million, and as soon as I saw it, I picked it up, and I could hardly wait till I was at home to dive into this novel. So this is the book we will be talking about today, but we will be doing it with some tea. So if you guys have some tea, grab yourself a cup and pour yourself a cup, and let's get started in reading about this amazing book. This is what we are diving into today, Jo and Laurie. It is actually written by two amazing authors. The first one is Margaret Stohl, and the second is Melissa de la Cruz. Now, you guys might be familiar with Melissa. I featured her novel, The Queen's Assassin, a few months ago, and that was featured on my book club, so I was super excited to see what she was up to next. Now, before we get started about talking about Jo and Laurie, yes, this book is based on Little Women. What Margaret and Melissa did is they brought all the characters from Little Women, and they did an amazing retelling. So Jo is the protagonist of this novel. She just has written Little Women, and she is handing the final pages in to her editor. Jo does not think that Little Women is going to be successful, but she needs the money, and she wants to provide for her family, so she gives the final pages to her editor. Well, little do we know, and as the readers, we know that Little Women is a smashing success, and her editor and the publishers want book 2, which will be called Good Wives. Now, Jo is reluctant to do it for a couple reasons. The first is Jo does not like the idea. Well, first of all, she did not like the title of Little Women. She just did not like that. And she doesn't like the idea of good wives. Jo is super independent, and she wants to portray that women can be independent. So she's reluctant on that front. Another reason she's reluctant is because she just made up the story of Little Women. She took bits and pieces of the family's lives, and she concocted this huge smashing story that everybody loved, but it's actually not reality the way everybody thinks it. Meg has no suitor. She is a governess. And then Amy is 15, and then Beth, as we know, she died of scarlet fever. However, in book 1 of Little Women, she is still alive, so Jo does not know how to write their futures in this story. So she's super reluctant. She just, every time she starts a page, she just ends up getting rid of it. And then she does write a whole bunch of different drafts of this book 2, but her editor does not like it. He doesn't think it suits, and he wants them all to have a happy ending, and he wants them all to get married, and that is another reason Jo has a hard time. She's having like a writer's block. Well, thankfully, in Jo and Laurie, Laurie is her best friend, and he is right there beside Jo, and he is kind of trying to help her along, and you kind of do get the sense, as you did in Little Women, that Jo and Laurie really do have deeper feelings for each other. Well, in Jo and Laurie, we also get to see how Jo's feeling, and Jo does have feelings for Laurie, but she decides not to act on them because Jo wants to prove that women can be independent, they don't need a guy, so she kind of casts aside her feelings. Well, Laurie takes them on a trip to New York because Jo is having a hard time writing her second novel, and that kind of gives us a different view of Jo and Laurie's relationship in this book. Now, I'm not going to give you guys any plots that will give away anything in this novel. You guys will definitely have to check out this novel to find out what happens. Now, in this novel, Jo and Laurie obviously are the main characters, but we do get to see different views of Amy. We get to see different views of Meg. So that's an awesome transition that I really enjoyed in this book. I also really liked that Margaret and Melissa kept true to Little Women, in the sense that the characters do seem the same. If you pick up this book and you're a fan of Little Women, you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, the time like Melissa and Margaret didn't write this in the right time frame. I felt like it was truly accurate, and you could tell they really knew the characters of Little Women. You obviously have to write a book like this, and they managed to pull it off beautifully. So, let's take a little bit of a break and have some tea. Yes, definitely tea outside is the best, by the way. Yeah, so let's see, what else can I say about this book? I give too much away on this book, here's a closer look. First of all, I absolutely love the cover of this book. I think it is stunning. Another plot point of this book, Jo, let's see, what can we say? I don't want to give anything away because I do truly feel like you have to pick up this book and read it from start to finish to actually grasp the entire concept. And I do think it's good if you don't know exactly what's going to happen, so you can make your own decision. But I will say, as soon as I picked up this book, I read it straight through. I couldn't put it down. I honestly just really, really, really enjoyed the plot of this book, how beautifully Melissa and Margaret were able to capture the characters of Little Women, which I will say is really hard because they are infamous characters. Everybody knows of Little Women and the characters, and they know how strong Jo is. So to give her a romantic story of something that was never written, I feel like was a hard task, but I do feel like they pulled it off, and it was amazingly done. So if you guys are fans of Little Women, I definitely say check out this book today. You guys will not regret it. I definitely did not. Now, another thing I will say is today we have amazing questions about this book. As you guys know, I told you guys earlier, I posted this on social media, and I got a huge response about this book because not a lot of you guys actually knew it was out. And again, I didn't until I saw it at the bookstore, but I will say this is a book you need to get. Now, I'm going to answer some questions that you guys wrote in and asked me. The first one is Hanson from Facebook. He says, is the ending a cliffhanger? I won't give anything away, but no, the ending is not a cliffhanger. It actually concludes the whole story of Little Women, I feel like, just because I actually was a Jo and Laurie fan. And you don't actually have to be a Jo and Laurie fan to love the ending. The ending is actually for Jo, I feel like, in this book. And you get to see a side of her in the ending that we didn't get to see in Little Women, which I feel like pulled it off. It is not a cliffhanger. It actually encompasses the whole book, and it closes the story off amazingly. So that was awesome. The second book is Delilah from Instagram. You said, OMG, when I saw this, I got my copy. How long did it take you to read? It took me probably about 9 hours straight to read this book. That's how amazing it was. I could not put this book down. It was amazing. I absolutely enjoyed this book so much. So thank you, Delilah, for that question. Next up is Sarah from Facebook. Hey, Sarah, you said, do you have to love young adult to love this novel? No, I don't feel like you have to love young adult to love this novel. Obviously, Little Women is written for every age, and I feel like Jo and Laurie was written for every age. So you could love any type of genre, I feel like, and really get something out of this book. Next up is Anna from Twitter. Hey Anna, you said, are these the same characters from Little Women? Yes, these are the same characters in Little Women. You just get to see a different side of them, and you get to see the backstory of Little Women, which is awesome. Timothy from Instagram, you said, are you a Laurie and Jo fan? Yes, I am a Laurie and Jo fan. That was my one thing with Little Women, is I really wanted them to end up together. Again, I will not give anything away on this book. I won't say if they end up together, but I will say this gives us a different point of view and Jo's perspective, so you kind of get to see if she does end up with Laurie, why she does, and if she doesn't, why ultimately she chooses her own destiny. But that's the great thing, is she gets to decide what she wants. So I loved that. And then finally, last but not least, is Savannah from Twitter. You said, who's your favorite character? My favorite character is Jo. I know that sounds cliche, but Jo is super strong. She's not afraid to speak her mind. She's super strong, and she doesn't give up easily. She wants to keep going, and I love the fact that she is a writer, as I'm an aspiring writer, so kind of watching her struggle in writing and try to come up with something amazing was something that I really connected to. So Jo is my favorite character in this book. So that concludes today's session featuring Jo and Laurie. Again, here's a close-up of this book. It is amazing. You guys definitely need to check out this book. Now, if you guys do not follow me on Twitter, you can go to Hey It's CarlyRae1 and follow me on Twitter and tweet me. You guys can go on my Instagram, Hey It's CarlyRae. You guys can like my pictures, message me, give them some hearts, and tell me what you guys think of this novel. You guys can also go on Facebook and follow me there. It is Hey It's CarlyRae. I also have a book club page on Facebook called Hey It's CarlyRae Book Club. And then finally, I I have a Pinterest page that is Hey It's Carly Rae. You guys can go on there and pin some amazing pictures and follow me, and I will go on there and say hey. So that concludes today's book session on Hey It's Carly Rae Book Club. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Let me know which book on my TBR list you guys want me to talk about next. Have an awesome day.